Okay, it is my
Okay.
privilege to introduce Bret Hadley to come and share his job search journey. Brett, it's all you.
Okay.
Thank you so much for
Okay.
coming.
All right. Well, thank you. Um, so yeah, this past week, I was offered a job at L3 Harris and I accepted it. Really good offer. Yeah, I'm excited for that. So to give you kind of a background on my how my job search has been is 8 years ago, I was working for a company. I kind of knew it wasn't going to be a long-term fit for me, but it was a paycheck. I hate to say a job's just a paycheck, but it was stable enough. On Friday, I had a message on LinkedIn from somebody who my most recent place that I worked at saying, "Hey, I saw you on LinkedIn. Come interview for us." So I'm like, okay. So that was a Friday. I messaged her saying, "Yeah, let's see if we can get something set up for next week." Didn't hear back from her that day. That Monday, the next working day, I was laid off from the last place from that place. While I was cleaning out my desk, I was messaging the hiring manager saying, "Hey, let's see if we can meet this week." So we got something set up. So I got to my car. I called my wife and said, "Hey, bad news is I lost my job. Good news is I have a job interview already lined up." The reason why I say that is because fast forward to this past August, I was laid off again. And mentally, I was thinking, oh, it's going to be the same process. I'm going to have, I'll be out of work for just a couple weeks and I'm going to find a job. The job market's not the same as it was 8 years ago. It's a lot more competitive right now. So what I had to do is I had to learn a lot more skills to get the job that I was just hired at. So the four main skills I worked with, and it's all the things that we learned from Steve and from these calls, is obviously networking, resume, interview, and then the follow ups as well. So for networking is I let as many people know as I know that I'm looking for work. Actually, my brother had a contact at L3 Harris. My brother sent me his email. I sent him an email saying, "Hey, I know you've been chatting with my brother. This is what I'm looking for." He messaged back saying, "Hey, there's a procurement role. Go ahead and apply for that one." I don't have any experience in procurement, but I looked and there was a master scheduling role that was open. So I said, "Hey, thank you so much for the referral. The role you referred me to, I just don't have the skill set for that one, but I did see this one right here that I feel like I'm going to be a much better fit for. I'm going to apply for this one." He messaged back saying, "Oh, perfect. I know the hiring manager. I'll talk to them as well." So, it's a simple example of some successful networking there. Moving on to my resume, this is the first time I did this with my resume, and I'm going to say I cheated a little bit, and I hate to use the word cheat, but I had AI create my resume for me. What I did is I use Microsoft 365. I put in, I had an existing copy of my resume, and I said, "Hey, please update my resume for this job description." So I pasted in my resume, I pasted in the new job description, and then I had it spit out the output from there. And then what I did is I went in and I color coded it. So everything that it spit out that I was going to keep that was good, that fit my history and my experience, I put that in green. Everything that I needed to edit a little bit and change some stuff, I put that in yellow. And it put some stuff out there in my resume that was not true to my experience. So I put that in red. I deleted the red, I edited the yellow, and I kept the green. And of course, I changed all the coding back to standard for my resume. Sent my resume off, and I got a call a couple days later asking for an interview. Um, I had a phone interview. Phone interview went great. I had phone interview with HR, so just a screening interview. That went great. I had a phone interview with the hiring manager. That also went great. One thing I did notice is it was a Zoom meeting and my video call on Zoom didn't work, just like how it doesn't work on this one. I'm using my phone instead of my computer. Don't know why my video doesn't work on Zoom for this, but we got interview went great, and then um, in the email that I had to set up the interview with, the HR manager said, message me right after the interview and we'll kind of do a debrief. So I sent him a email. I got a call back about a half hour later saying, hey, Hannah was incredibly impressed with you. Your interview went awesome. Um, let's schedule an in-person interview for the following week. So I did the in-person interview. It was the hiring manager who I spoke with before. It was with another team member who would be kind of a subject matter expert, and then also somebody from a different department that I would be collaborating with quite a bit. All three of them asked me questions. Um, the interview went surprisingly well. I haven't had that many interviews. I've had maybe a half dozen, and this was by far the best one I've had. Um, in fact, I was scheduled for an hour, and the meeting room that we were in was booked after that. So they said, "Hey, we still want to visit with you." They grabbed another room, and I met with two of them for about another half hour or so. And in fact, it wasn't them asking me questions; it was me asking them questions, mostly about the team, the job function, the responsibilities, the dynamics between the different departments who I'll be working with. Um, and again, it was probably the best interview I've ever had. It was amazing. Um, and then the last piece is just the follow up. Of course, after the first phone interview I had with the hiring manager, I asked for her email at the end. I gave her a really nice follow up email, just thanking her for her time, for visiting with me. And then for the in person interview, this is something I've never done before. And maybe this is what set me apart from the other candidates is I didn't have the email addresses for the other two people I worked with, but I asked the HR rep who I've been working with if I could send them a quick note, just thanking them for their time. He said that instead of giving them their addresses, he said, how about just forward me that email and I'll forward it on to them. So I did that. And I also CC'd the hiring manager on as well. And I adapted the emails for, for the subject matter expert. I just said, hey, you know what, given the role, it would be great working with you. It would be great learning from you. Sounds like I'll be a good addition to the team. I haven't met the whole team, but it sounds like there's good chemistry, for lack of a better term, with the group. And then with the other person who was a project manager, I said, hey, it's going to be great collaborating with you. And then also that he knew another person who I knew from L3 as well. Um, and I just said, hey, it sounds like you know Brandon. I've known Brandon for a number of years. He's a great guy. Um, he spoke very highly of you, saying that said that he knew you in that role. So I did a little bit of networking there. And then about 2 or 3 days later, I sent the another email to the hiring manager. She said, hey, email me if you have any questions about benefits. So I sent a quick message there. And she said, oh, do you know what? Actually, forward this to the HR person. So I did that. And I got a call about 5 minutes later saying, hey, I don't want to overspeak, but we are in the process of moving you forward with the hiring, but nothing's official quite yet. We just need a couple more approvals. So this past Monday, a week from today, I got the official letter, and yeah, I'm just doing the HR paperwork and stuff like that. And my hiring date should be 2 weeks from today. So that's my story. Pretty straightforward, but again, I was able to use all the skills and um, yeah, skills we learned from Steve and from this group.
Okay, I have a question, and then I'm going to open it up to everybody else.
Okay.
My question is from start to finish with L3 Harris. When did it start, and till you get your offer?
Oh, that's a great question. I think it was 2 weeks, maybe 2.5 weeks. The HR person, so submitted my resume. I got a call from the HR person about 2 days later. He had just one quick question, one small question. Um, So that was the week of January 14th. And the reason why I remember that is he was actually traveling. He called me at that Friday at 7. Um, and I thought he was going to be just asking for to set up an interview. But it was my wife and I's anniversary that week. So we were about to walk into a restaurant. I saw the voicemail. I called him right back, and it turned out to be a 20-minute impromptu interview while we were waiting to get seated for our anniversary dinner. So my wife was very understanding of that. Normally, she wouldn't be too understanding of a 20-minute phone call. So that was the week of the 17th or the 14th of January, and I got the call last week. So I guess maybe it was 3 weeks. Um, but yeah, the whole process kind of went a little bit quicker than what I was expecting. Um, but
Okay.
yeah, that's yeah.
All right. Perfect. I just wanted to know because sometimes, processes start and it's like 3 months later and it
Hmm.
happens. So, okay. First person, I'm just going to random pick people. If you have something, great. But if not, you get to wish them well. First person is Tommy.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Um, my question would be, do you think that the process would have been as simple had you not had a networking advantage there by, I think you said your brother knew somebody, which knew somebody?
Yeah, I think that helped push it along. When I was being interviewed for the in person, she's like, "Oh, Brighton, sounds like you know Brighton," and yeah, he said you have come from a really strong background. And then also I've networked with two people there, and then one of the persons on the phone I was networking with somebody that they worked with as well. So I think that definitely helped. I don't know if it necessarily got me the job, but I would say it helped push me farther in that process.
Okay, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tommy. Next up is Tammy.
Congratulations. How awesome. I'm wondering why 2 weeks before you start?
What they do, oh, when I start working there,
Uh-huh.
what they do is they onboard every 2 weeks. I got my offer letter a week ago today, so that would have been 3 weeks out, and they said hopefully we can get everything done within these 3 weeks. If not, they'll have to delay it another 2 weeks. So it's
Oh,
just their onboarding cadence.
okay.
I submitted the information for my background check and my I-9 last week. I did my drug screen last week. So I did everything I could to get this process done as quick as possible. I don't want it delayed. I got an email this morning saying they need a quick 15-minute video call with me to finalize my I-9. So I got that scheduled before I scheduled that meeting before our call today. And yeah, so it's kind of the wait game right now, just making sure everything gets cleared on my background, which of course it will, but just want to make sure everything's ready for me to start 2 weeks from now.
Well, I'm excited for you.
Oh, well, thank you.
That's it for me.
Okay. Thanks, Tammy. Next up is Don.
I just want to say congratulations. Don't feel bad about if using AI was. We have to apologize. I'd be apologizing almost every whatever resume I've used AI, even the one generic resumes I've used that. So, but congratulations, good job.
Oh, well, thank you.
Okay. Next up is Sean.
I just want to say congratulations, and also, I mean, this is the role that you want to go into, even though they had you picked for a different role. You got the job that you want to go into.
Yes.
That's all I have to say. Great job.
Okay. Thank you. Next up is Tara. I don't know if she has camera or not.
No, I'm not on camera.
Okay.
Congratulations. I don't really have any questions.
Okay. All right.
All right, thank you.
Next up is who will be our next speaker in a minute, but that's Kyle.
Hey, Brett. Only question I have, or well, I guess a question I would have is that how much did you feel like you were out there floundering before the networking paid off?
That's a really good question. I would say this. It is. I would kind of go through ebbs and flows of a good pipeline of jobs I've been working with, and then nothing for a while. December was kind of at a low point as far as interesting jobs that I think I would be a good fit for if being available. And I was thinking, maybe the first of the year something would pay off. I did have an interview for a similar role with another company a week before I applied for this one, and it was kind of a brutal interview. And I'm thinking like maybe this isn't, because this is a bit of a change for me as far as what I'm used to. And that's my background's in supply chain management. So in the supply chain, obviously, there's a definite chain of processes that happen, and this is the next one down. And I was thinking like maybe this isn't going to be a great fit for me. Um, but I had this interview and I was surprised with how well it went. So it was kind of like a low car as far as job opportunities. I had an interview 2 weeks later that was just brutal, and then this amazing interview. So I can't explain why it happened like that, but I'm glad it did.
Well, congratulations, and you know,
Oh, thank you.
yeah.
Okay. Next up is Brian.
So, congratulations. And any particular type of preparation you did for your interviews?
Oh, yes. What I did is I went on Google and I just Googled interview questions for master schedulers. So I came up with about a dozen questions or so, and I read through those and I prepped about 5 or 6 different experiences I've had in the past that would fit for each one of those. I did the STAR format. I'm sure everybody's familiar with that: the situation, task, action, results. Um, and yeah, even though I don't have very much direct experience in this specific role, indirect I've had quite a bit, but yeah, I nailed all the questions they had. It was, yeah, the prep work. I think that's what really helped me with that. Um, just getting prepped for those questions.
Super. Thanks.
Okay. Next up is Laura.
Yes, it just sounds like a really successful strategy that you employed. You've mentioned some, what pain points did you experience along the way that might be wise for us to be aware of?
Um, and I guess the biggest one, and this is other people have talked about this as well, and it's hard not to do it, but just the worry of what if this doesn't work out. Um, I told you a week before this one, I had an interview. I prepped for that one, and the interview just went bad. And I was thinking, you know what? I don't know if I want to work for that company. The interviewer was a little bit dismissive of my history. She was like, sounds like you don't have direct experience in this role. And I was kind of able to justify my stance a little bit. But when that one didn't work out, I'm like, you know what? Not the end of the world. It doesn't sound like I want to work there. But with this one, I'm like, oh, this is going to be hard to recover from if I don't get this job. In fact, last 2 weeks ago, at the end of the week, or the HR recruiter said, "Hey, if we should have an offer for you. If everything doesn't work out, we plan on letting you know one way or another by end of business Friday." And I didn't hear back from them till 8 o'clock on Friday. that from 5 o'clock to 8 o'clock, that 3 hours was a very long 3 hours for me. But again, it's just kind of just being able to be resilient. If this didn't work out, knowing I had to start from scratch isn't always fun, but unemployment's not fun, but it's temporary. There's always going to be jobs coming up. But it's just that time between those good opportunities is the tough part. So just prepping myself mentally if I did need to start from scratch is what I was doing. Hopefully that answers your question.
No, yes.
Okay.
It's pretty open to how to answer, I think. So yeah, thank you.
But yeah, and people have said this before is, and I'm not the first one to be asked this, but it's, what do you do when it doesn't work out? And it's tough, but yeah, this is I've been unemployed for 6 months, I guess, maybe going on 7 months. And yeah, the worst thing to do is worry and panic is what I've realized. So I would say this, just one piece of advice is keep yourself busy when those times come up. There's been a lot of times where it's like, this week I haven't applied for very many jobs, and the ones I have applied for, I really don't want. They don't seem like a great fit for me. And that's tough, but just knowing that, hey, you know what? This might be a tough week. There's going to be better weeks ahead was my mentality.
Love it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Alex.
First of all, congratulations, Bret.
Thank you.
It's great that you got a position. For me, the hardest part has been what you were just mentioning. As you said, keep yourself busy. But once the months keep going by, how are you keeping yourself busy without overstressing with some of the basic logical elements, not to mention finances with the family and the other details?
Yeah, it's a tough one. I would say this one hobby I have, I don't know if you can see it, I have a couple guitars hanging on the wall. When I've been looking for jobs and nothing came up, I'll pick up a guitar, start playing a guitar. I'll do anything to kind of, I don't want to say necessarily consume time, but just distract me from any negativity. So that worked for me. When it wasn't cold wintertime outside, going for a 10, 15-minute walk would be a good, that I found relief in that. When my kids come home from school, spending time with the kids, just anything to kind of, I don't want to say distract me. I guess distract me from negativity is a good way to put it. Not distract me from the job search, but just to be like, oh, you know what? I didn't see a lot of jobs this week. Anything I thought I would be a good fit for, maybe I'm not going to find something. Those are very poisonous thoughts. And so just remembering, hey, this is going to be temporary. I don't know that temporary time period. But I will say this, this 7 months I'm going to be without a job. 7 months is a long time. But given the company and the pay and everything, I would say it's definitely worth it from what I was before. It kind of sucks that it happened, but I think 2026 is going to be a much, much better year than 2025.
Wonderful. Thank you. And again, congrats.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. Next up is Desiree.
First of all, I do want to say congratulations. I've definitely been on this call for a few months with you. Super excited for you. And actually, I feel like the person before me, Alex, I think you took my question, but I think that's the most important view that everybody on this call needs to see. And I think you hit it right on the head, that it is a really competitive market right now. And I remember over the last couple months just kind of listening to other people before you talking about, oh, we didn't necessarily like align my whole resume, but I think that's where a lot of us are. So I agree with Dawn. You're not cheating. And in past calls that I've actually had with Steve, I always kind of started off that way, that I cheated a little bit and used my AI. But I think that's really what it takes now, because again, we're just continuing to try to pop out those resumes. I think it's just a very different market,
And I'll say this,
trying to look
I
for
don't,
jobs.
yeah,
So
sorry to cut you off, but I think everybody else is doing this too. And so it's kind of that's the playing field. And going back to my experience I had at the beginning of when I was laid off 8 years ago, I don't think that was the case. I think it was, yeah, I mean, the whole AI stuff wasn't around. It was just, yeah, much different job market, and we need to adapt to the current conditions. Otherwise, we're going to miss out on a lot of opportunities.
no, I agree. But I did want to say that thank you for answering Alex's question. I think everybody needs to understand that some of us have been on here for 6, 7 months. I'm with you. I've been employed for 7. And then to your point that when the unemployment runs out, then you get really nervous about
Yeah,
then what do you do? You know what I
yeah.
mean? So, but I'm with you. I've been very grateful for these calls. I think that's something that really helps us all recharge and just keep going. So again, I'm just super excited for you, Brett. Way to go to just stay focused and committed. And I really just wish you nothing but the best in this next steps of your career. Way to go.
Oh, well, thank you so much.
Welcome.
Okay. Thank you. Next is Jason.
Well, congratulations. And yeah, the guitars are blurred out, so I can't quite tell what they are. But is that a flying V over your shoulder?
No, I have a key bass, I have a Telecaster, and then I have a lap still up there, and then I have a couple more in some cases. I
Oh,
just have my cheap ones on the wall.
playing slide. That's cool. Um, so I was taking notes, and so of course I didn't hear what you were saying clearly. But the color coding on your resume, could you say that again?
Yeah, I can go over that. So what I did, so I had that output from AI,
Right.
and obviously that overly embellished some stuff that I didn't want to put on the resume. It kicked out some stuff saying I had experience or more experience in stuff that
That
just
really
wasn't
did.
true. So what I did is I read through it, and anything that was good that I wanted to keep, I put that in green. Anything that was just flat out not true, like, I'm going to be throw out some crazy examples, CEO of whatever company,
Right.
that was red. That's garbage. That's not true. And then anything that I needed to go back and tweak and adjust, I put that in yellow. So, and it was kind of nice because it spit out quite a bit more stuff than what would fit on 2 pages. So when I cleaned out all that red crap, all that stuff that was just overly exaggerated, and then after I cleaned up some of that stuff in yellow, then it fit really nice in those 2 pages.
And that was just you editing it by hand. That wasn't feeding it back through AI again.
Some of the stuff in yellow, I actually fed back through again. I would say, and again, I used Microsoft 365 and said, "Hey, please edit this following resume bullet, or please change the wording on this." And then I'd paste it in, and then it was the same message, but it just cleaned up the wording sometimes.
And the 365 is AI? Because I thought that was just Office.
Well, it was. Let me see exactly what it is here. I guess it's Copilot.
It's
Yeah,
Copilot.
Copilot.
Yeah.
Okay.
It comes with Microsoft for
All
sure.
right. Yeah, Copilot.
And I don't think it's going to do anything unique versus any of the other AIs. I could be wrong, but I think the output's going to be fairly similar across the board with any of them.
Yeah. And that's probably it. I was just wondering, because my system interacted with scheduling to a fair extent. Basically, we would be sending up as we completed containers of product that would relieve the schedule for those lines. And so, but supply chain, that's more the raw materials coming into the plant. Is that a
Yeah,
good way to
exactly.
divide that?
Basically, yeah, the whole supply chain function is procuring those materials as they come in, finding the correct sources for that, scheduling all the labor and capacity for those, also having a good estimate of how much and what you need to make. That's the forecasting side. And then the logistics side is the transportation of that to the customer.
To the
To
customer.
put that in a nutshell, that's the whole function. So what I was doing before is I was doing the forecasting side, saying, hey, our customers are gonna buy 100,000 of this unit this month, 150,000 of this unit next month, and broken down
Right.
between the hundreds of SKUs we have. What I'm doing now is I would go and take that forecast information and then build that manufacturing plan off of that for those requirements.
So all through the whole process, then raw
Yeah.
material down to finished goods
Yeah.
and shipment. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, it just seems like and I guess that's like you say, the general skill set is going to be the same, I would think, and
Yeah.
it's just the different interfaces you'd actually be dealing with.
And I am glad you mentioned that. And this is one other thing that I kind of pivoted with is I did mention that I don't have a lot of hands-on experience with the day-to-day stuff of the master scheduling. What I did is I worked as, I guess for lack of a better term, kind of a project manager over some of the big constraints that we had, managing that whole process.
No.
And so that during my interview, that's what I sold them on is I can work at this level instead of this level of the day-to-day stuff. I have more of the higher level experience. Even though it was a lot condensed, it was only worked on that for just 6 months to a year on certain projects versus 10 years of experience of doing this. I think they liked hearing that higher level managerial experience that I had with that. And that I was able to sell myself on that instead of, oh, I just worked with people who did this function. If that makes sense.
But the other company that interviewed didn't like that. I mean, that just seems odd to me.
No,
Because they knew you were coming in that way.
Yeah, she was like, her attitude was kind of weird from the beginning. She's like, I want to make sure that you read the job description properly. This is a master scheduling role, not a demand planning role. I'm like, oh yeah, completely understand. She's like, oh, your experience kind of told me otherwise.
Seems
right then I'm thinking like, I do not want to work for you. You sound
seemed
like
a little
an
rude.
awful
Yeah.
boss. Yeah. So, but yeah, and yeah, with this interview, I just kind of pivoted off my higher level experience, and I guess that's what they were looking for.
Yeah. Then congratulations that they appreciated that. Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Okay. Next up is, I'm looking. Megan, are you there?
I am here.
Megan Roth.
Well, congratulations. And I feel
Thank
like
you.
I wrote down a few questions as we went, and everyone has asked them. So I was mostly interested in the pivoting of a role. Did you pivot industries as well? I guess that was my question, or is this the same industry that you were in before?
Industries changed. It was, and especially the customer base changed. So before I worked for a company that manufactured explosives, and it was business to business sales. And it was all like for mining and construction. So it wasn't any military contracts or anything, just business to business in the explosives field. L3Harris, they specialize in communications, and they're almost 90% government agencies. So the industry changed a little bit. The biggest change is going to be the customer going from, private companies to government agencies. That's going to be a bit different. As far as the products, explosives are surprisingly simple. There's not much to them. Our bill of materials were just a fraction of the bill of materials of some of the products they manufacture there. So I feel like I'm going to be a little bit inexperienced just because of I'm used to a lot more simplicity with some of the products. But Yeah. So I mean, and the other thing too. So it was a pivot. I guess there was three pivots. Industry types, which is going to be a bit the customer types, and then the role change as well. But it's not going to be night and day difference between any of those. It's going to be pretty it's pretty close to the same, I think.
Well, yeah, I think I've been looking at that, just I had kind of a niche role and then trying to figure out how to step out and I'm not used to being beginner anymore. So
Yeah.
for you to like be able to bridge the gap, communicate what you could do to fill the role, and then yeah, it'll be kind of interesting to learn all the new things, I bet. So
Yeah. And I've been kind of thinking about branching out for a while. I was in demand planning before, and demand planning is a very niche field, which is a double-edged sword. It's great because not a lot of people have as much experience in it as I have, but there's not a lot of jobs. For the past 6, 7 months, as I've been looking for jobs, I didn't find any in my field that would even pay as much as what I was making before, which was it was tough, and I was thinking, I'm like, it would be nice to expand my skill set, and this opportunity came up, and it was the transition. It was enough of a change without it being too far out of my category. The pay was right where it needed to be. Is a decent pay bump for me. Good stable company. So yeah, everything just kind of fell in my lap with this. So yeah, I'm excited for this.
awesome.
Great. Thank you, Megan. Next up is we're wrapping it up here. Next is Stan. Kind of not explosives, but dangerous good. So I mean, you guys are like brothers a little bit. Just kidding.
Yeah, I've applied to L3 Harris before, but a lot of congratulations, first off, and you don't have to answer this, but you can be as vague as you want. Did you negotiate anything like more salary or benefits? And if so, how did that go?
That is a good question. When I submitted my resume for this, I didn't. I looked on Glassdoor to get an estimate of the salary range for this company, or for this role. Um, and so I told you I had that call with the recruiter when I was outside of the restaurant. My wife and I were about to go eat dinner to celebrate our anniversary, and I had this call. So I'm outside in January. It's kind of chilly outside, and he asked my salary on this, and I completely blanked on what that number was that I looked up. So I spitballed, and I spitballed on the high side, and he said, "Well, we can't do that, but we can do this," and it was a difference of like $3,000, $4,000, something like that. And I said, "Perfect. Yeah, if you want to submit that, go ahead and submit that." Um, but I did bring it down a little bit, but it is a significant bump up from what I was before. So I'm not complaining about not having that extra couple $1,000s in there.
And that was this before an offer, or I can't, sorry.
This was the call I had with I thought it was just to set up interview, but this was the kind of the screening call with the
okay.
HR rep. So it was like my very first contact I had with them is when they asked that question.
Okay.
So yeah, I should have been a little bit more prepared for that, but my mind was definitely not thinking, oh, I'm going to be on a screening call right now. So, but yeah, he said, yeah, well, yeah, instead of this, we'll have it at this, but it's again, no complaints with where it is.
Awesome. Congrats.
Thank you.
Okay. We're wrapping up here. Next up is Melinda.
Bret, I'm so happy for you that you were able to,
thank you.
to bounce back from a difficult interview that was kind of down, degrading. Sounds like that can be tough, and able to find someplace that's a much better fit. from somebody who's had a lot of interviews, it can be very tough, and I'm very happy you were able to do that.
Oh, thank you.
Somebody who is in my position looking to grow their network, what have you found that really helps? Cold emailing, job fairs, what's given you your good network?
Most of it's just been personal contacts. When I first was looking for jobs, my first real networking experience was I was just doing some grocery shopping, and I ran into a former colleague. He's like, "Hey, how are things going?" I'm like, "Hey, I'm doing great. The family's doing great. By the way, this happened to me. Last couple of weeks, I found myself out of a job." And he's like, "Hey, send me over your resume. Let's see what we can do for you." So just simple contacts, just kind of face-to-face contacts with people that I know. And then obviously, I think, my family know, and so they were working with some of their contacts. I haven't, as far as the only stuff I've done on LinkedIn is after I've applied for a job, I've seen people from the job will look at my link. I can see that they looked at my profile, so I've looked at theirs. But I haven't done any cold calling as far as networking. And maybe that's something I should have been doing, but I just didn't have the knowledge or skills on how to do that.
It's not fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm so happy for you. You were able to get
thank you.
that.
All right. Thank you. Next up is, where is he? There he is. He's out in the cornfield. Rick Farrell.
Oh, yeah, I'm just in the bushes.
Okay.
Oops.
We all are, Rick. We just don't want to admit it.
Well, congratulations. I've been trying to get back into defense work. I did that early in my career, went commercial for the last 10 and a half years. And the biggest issue is that I no longer have a security clearance. And that's been a real issue with me. So I guess, does your job require a clearance? And I guess with L3, that wouldn't be a problem. They can just pay for it.
Yeah, it does require a clearance. I'm glad you mentioned that, because I did apply for a number of jobs at Northrop Grumman, and I applied for maybe 8 or 9 jobs. I can't remember, and most of them did say that it did require a security clearance of whatever. And I didn't know the difference between them, but it did say that is required. I still applied for them. But this one in the description, it says must be able to obtain a security clearance. So this wasn't required. And this is one of the bonuses of it as well, is because, that clearance is something that I'm really looking forward to obtaining. I think that's going to help me if I do decide to pursue future opportunities in the future. That's going to help me quite a bit with that. But
yeah,
like
I've had several positions that had my clearance been active, I could have got. But yeah. Anyways, congratulations, and I'm looking for software engineering roles. So if you happen to run across any of those kinds of people and wouldn't mind putting me forward for that, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Will do. In fact, let me do this.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Let me look for you on LinkedIn. Can you put your LinkedIn profile in the chat? I'll add you as a contact that way. And then if something comes up, I have your contact info.
Yeah, actually, if you just go to LinkedIn and just put my name, Rick-Farrell, I'm right there.
Okay, perfect. I'll do that right now.
I'm the only one in Utah. Okay, appreciate it, brother.
Okay. Next up, and I think his last is, where'd he go? He's here. There he is. Jeff Bodley.
Congratulations on that job offer.
Thank you.
Just how did the pivot work for you? Or just looking at that, you've thrown out a couple things and multiple people have done it. I've spent 20 years in retail management and have HR. I'm going back to Western Governors for HR, but one thing that a lot of people have told me is supply chain management and project management, just with kind of my retail background and running case lots and seasonal items and stuff like that. Just kind of, was that a big thing for you as far as switching or finding a different niche or opportunity?
Yeah, I would say this. I got my degree in supply chain management from Weber State. Um, I had a few jobs after college just doing analytics and stuff like that. It's one of the things I had a hard time really finding foothold into this. Um, and just kind of by dumb luck, I interviewed or I applied for a job in Ogden in the Ogden Business Depot for a baked goods company. It was called Arista, and for a demand planner. And I've been wanting to get into that. And I applied there, I interviewed, and I was thinking it's kind of they said it was a baked goods company. Um, I know Loft House is there, but it turned out that they were the
Oh, we lost him. All right, that happens. And it wasn't my fault for a change. This is great. So he'll probably be right back. I'm guessing that he was on his phone and it died. Um, so we're still recording. So maybe he'll be coming back here in a sec. We'll give it a minute. Why I have Jeff here and he's right front and center here. I'll take him off front and center. So he doesn't have to be spotlighted. But Jeff just took a class in, oh, there he is. I knew he'd be right back.
All right. Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay. Can you guys hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Sorry
Yes,
about
we can.
that. My video, I can't get my video to work on my computer, so I was using my phone and my phone died. So anyway, the question was is how I got into supply chain. So I went into that. I studied that in school. It took a couple years until I found a demand planning job. And from there, it's one of the things, it was kind of a niche thing. And yeah, I've been in it for the last 10 years. But yeah, pivoting to this, it's definitely under the supply chain role. It's kind of just the next step down. But it's been a great industry for me to be in. As far as job market, I can during COVID, I was getting headhunters contacting me about once or twice a month saying, "Hey, come work for us." And I obviously during COVID and all the uncertainty, I didn't want to jump ship. But I would say that's probably the most in demand my role has been. This time around looking for jobs, it's been pretty scarce, but I don't know how scarce it's been compared to other fields. But yeah, I've really enjoyed it. It's a lot of data, a lot of analytics, a lot of problem solving. But you know what? That's what they pay us for. So I don't know if that fully answers your question or not, but hopefully it does.
No, it's kind of where I've been if I were to dive into the supply chain management. COVID in the retail aspect of things kind of hurt us, and so procuring those through different means was an opportunity, was something I liked. And not that I really want to get back into the retail field of things. I'm hoping to do more of the business side of HR and stuff like that, but it's an option. So thank you.
Okay. I think we got everybody. Any parting words, Brett?
No, other than just you know what I mean, it's looking for jobs. It sucks. It's the toughest job that I've ever had, and it pays the worst. It pays awful. But you know what? Everything's temporary, and looking for jobs. My time was temporary, and my time's up. Hopefully, everybody else's time is going to be up really soon too. I hope everybody finds good spot for them. Not only just a job, but something that they're really going to connect with and, you know, have a lot of passion behind. So yeah, hopefully everyone finds something like that soon.
Okay, big round of applause for Bret. Thank you for all of that. This is recorded. All right, this is Bret Hadley. We want to wish him best at L3 Harris, and the bonus there, and I'm with him, is that security clearance. That security clearance, yeah. I'm happy to help him with that if he ever needs to leverage that in the future. All right, again, thank you, Bret Hadley.
All right, thanks everyone.